Hello and welcome to I24 News Sports Daily Magazine with all the latest scores and stories from around the world. Plenty of action coming your way, and we begin with football, and as it seems, the new season is picking up exactly where the last one ended. Real Madrid won the last official game of the previous season, beating Atletico Madrid in overtime in the Champions League final. 2.5 months later, the Merengues win again. The European Super Cup was also a Spanish affair. Real Madrid took on Europa League champion Seville. James Rodriguez came in the summer, Toni Kroos as well, but it's still Cristiano Ronaldo's team. The Portuguese superstar scored twice to lead the European champions to a 2-0 victory. Alex Ferguson was the man who handed the trophy as a UEFA representative, and Ronaldo did not forget the man who was first to believe he would be a big star.
I say thank you to Sir Alex Ferguson to give me this trophy. For me, it means a lot because he was the coach who, teach me many things when I was in Manchester with 18 years of age. So I appreciate it and thank you for giving me this trophy.
Big game like that, it's always difficult to choose a man of the match. So many good players on the field, but Cristiano tonight made it easy for me.
Very nice to see all this appreciation with such two big superstars. So Real Madrid sure looks ready for another European conquest. One team that will not do it this season is Manchester United. Due to the poor performance last season, they do not play at all in European competition this time around. But judging by what we have seen from them so far, there's plenty to look for under new manager Louis van Gaal. Last night, they played their final warm-up match ahead of the Premier League. And again, it looked good. Michael Friedman with the story.
As Louis van Gaal steps onto the pitch of Old Trafford for his first time, he has shown great support from the United fans. The former Dutch international coach is looking to follow in the very big footsteps of legend Sir Alex Ferguson. The summer signing of Ander Herrera gave Manchester an early opportunity, but the Spaniards sent a volley wide of the Valencia goal. With Wayne Rooney on the attack in the 32nd minute, Antonio Barragan took him down in the center of the box, giving the newly appointed captain a chance to open up the match. However, with a missed penalty opportunity by Rooney, the two teams went into the half scoreless. Despite hitting the goalpost, the Reds' new skipper believes he can bring his club back to winning form after a disappointing 2013 season. Early in the second half, a corner to Darren Fletcher sent a deflected shot from the edge of the area, putting United ahead 1-0. But then, with 20 minutes left in the match, Valencia equalized after another deflected goal, which fell to Rodrigo, who sent a volley into United's net, leaving David De Gea helpless. As the game looked to end in a draw, a mistake by the visiting defense allowed the ball to fall to Fellaini, where the Belgium international took the ball from his chest and gave United a 2-1 victory in injury time. Van Gaal walked off the pitch, giving high fives to the fans as he savored his first Old Trafford win as United's manager.
So, will Manchester United recuperate from their dismal season? Can anyone really compete with the big money pouring in from Chelsea and Manchester City? And should we consider Arsenal as frontrunners just ahead of the Premier League, which begins this weekend? I24 News head of sports Robert Pires spoke with Robert Pires, who played 6 seasons with Arsenal, and he gave his insights about the upcoming season in England.
Merci de répondre à nos questions depuis votre lieu de vacances.
You played with Arsenal for 6 seasons. The Gunners came in 4th last season. It was a tough season. They were the leaders for a long time, and in recent times they somewhat fell. This year they have a lot of new players who are joining, like Alexis Sanchez from Barcelona, Ospina from Nice, Debuchy from Newcastle. Do you think that Arsenal is going to be at the highest level this year?
Est-ce que vous pensez qu'enfin Arsène va revenir au plus haut niveau?
Listen, actually it's what I want and what I wish for them. As you said, until December in the winter, Arsenal was the leader, and that at the end it was more complicated, much harder. And then a strong team like Manchester City can make the difference to become the champion of England. Today we see clearly that actually Arsene Wenger does everything he can to bring his team to become champions. It's the first year they took care of the transfers, especially bringing a very big transfer, which is Alexis Sanchez, who's coming directly from Barcelona. This shows that he really wants to make an impact, and to make an impact he needs to become the new champion of England. And again, it's the best I wish for him.
Last year Ozil was also a big deal.
Yes, absolutely. Anyway, every year, Wenger is able to bring a big player. Last year, it was Ozil. He came directly from Real Madrid. This player made a good season. He was able to get used to the English Premier League very quickly, and it's not as simple for all other players. Today, it's Sanchez's turn. He didn't have a lot of opportunities to play in Barcelona, so he wanted to leave, and Wagner was quick enough to bring him to Arsenal at an early age.
Arsenal beat Manchester City in the Community Shield. City's coach Manuel Pellegrini said that for him it was no more than just a practice match. What do you say about that?
Un match de préparation, que ce match ne comptait pas. Qu'en pensez-vous, Robert?
I'm laughing because, yes, you know, when you lose, you always try to find some excuses. I know Manuel very well. He was my manager at Villarreal for 3 seasons, and I know that he is disappointed because it's a trophy that matters to him. It's the beginning of the season, but it's true that they are a bit late compared to the Gunners with their preparations.
Last year, Manchester United had a terrible season. Do you think that with the new coach, Louis van Gaal, the Red Devils will be back to the top? He's the man to do it?
Last year was a very complicated because it was the first season without Alex Ferguson, and it was very difficult for the club. Listen, what is important is that Manchester United do not have the same trouble as last year, because it was complicated. First, they had to live without the loss of Sir Alex Ferguson, which was not easy for the club.
Do you think Van Gaal is the right man for the job?
Yes, yes, yes. I even think that he should have come in the club immediately after Alex Ferguson quit last season. He is a good coach, he proved it already, and we saw what he is capable of in the World Cup. So for me, yes, he is really the man of the hour.
A player that you know well is coming back to Chelsea, but also quitting the national team. Do you think Chelsea needs him?
As usual, I don't really think that Chelsea are favorites to win. But of course, with a manager like Mourinho, anything is possible. And also with the return of Didier Drogba, who knows the club so well and will be interesting to watch. But let's not forget, they lost a very important man when Frank Lampard left, so I don't really think that Chelsea are the favorites.
The German Super Cup will be played tonight. As usual, in the past few years, it will feature Bayern Munich against Borussia Dortmund in what has turned to be the biggest rivalry in German football these days. Bayern Munich, who won the German double last season, again comes in as a favorite, but manager Pep Guardiola knows exactly how big is the team they have to face.
Rivalry in football is everywhere. It's the most important thing. In the last few years, there's been a great rivalry between us and Dortmund. And we have great respect for them and what they have achieved in the past few years. I'm looking forward to the match against them because I always want to play against the best teams in the world, and Dortmund is definitely one of them.
Ich mochte spielen gegen die beste Mannschaft in der Welt, in BVB sein wollen.
Tata Martino left Barcelona as soon as the previous season ended, as he was unable to lead the club from Catalonia to glory, but he was not left out of a job for a long time. Martino will now take over as the head coach of Argentina, replacing Alejandro Sabella, who led the Albiceleste to the World Cup final last month, where Argentina lost to Germany. Martino has strong and close ties to Argentine star and captain Leo Messi, who is reported to be happy with the choice. Tata's main mission will be to get Argentina ready for next year's Copa America. His first match in charge will be again against Germany, a rematch of the World Cup final, only this time it will be a friendly next month in Düsseldorf. Now to tennis, and Novak Djokovic is of course a big favorite to win the US Open, set to begin in less than 2 weeks, but apparently the hardcourt season turns out to be much more difficult than expected. Last week in Toronto, Djokovic lost in the third round. He was not far from another loss, this time in the second round in Cincinnati. Djokovic met up with Gilles Simon. Nola won the first set, the French took the second, and the decider was a close affair. The world number one had to sweat it out before winning in 3 sets, 6-3, 4-6, and 6-4. Jo-Wilfried Tsonga was the hero of Toronto, winning the Rogers Cup, but that did not help him one bit in Cincinnati. Tsonga is out. After his first match, the French lost to Michael Yuzhny in straight sets 6-1 and 6-4. 14th seed Croatian Marin Cilic took on Spain's Feliciano Lopez and always seemed to be a step ahead of his rival. Lopez had just too many unforced errors, the last one giving Cilic the win 6-3 and 6-4. Steve Johnson made the most of the home support in his match against French Benoit Paire, who looked to have given up on the match ahead of the final point. He sent the ball up to the skies. Johnson gets the easy victory 6-4, 6-1. Now to the women's draw, and Venus Williams had a very good run last week in Montreal, but just like Tsonga, that was no use in Cincinnati. Venus made Czech Lucy Safarova in the first round. It started well for the Rogers Cup finalists, who took the first set on a tiebreak, but Safarova came back to take the next two, winning 6-7, 6-3, and 6-4. Romania's Simona Halep is going through a wonderful year that saw her going all the way up to number 2 in the world rankings. With shots like this, it's easy to see how it happened. Halep is now through to the third round in Cincinnati after putting away Kirsten Flipkens in straight sets 6-4 and 6-2. Victoria Azarenka won the trophy in Cincinnati last year, but she will not be able to defend it this time. The Belarusian, ranked 11th in the world, is still suffering from a right knee injury she sustained in Wimbledon. She has played in 2 tournaments since then, but decided to rest in order to be fully fit for the US Open at the end of the month. This is just the latest setback in a season full of injuries for Azarenka. She's been sidelined for much of the year with an ailing left foot. After months of speculations, now it's official. The Los Angeles Clippers does not belong to Donald Sterling anymore. Nearly 4 months after the racial comments made by Sterling and the demand by the NBA to sell the team, it finally happened. Former Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer became the owner following a record $2 billion sale. Not a bad deal for Sterling, who bought the team for $12 million 33 years ago. Now that he's gone, everyone seems to be happy, including his ex-wife and owner, Shelley Sterling.
It was sold today, and I hate losing the team, but it's going to a wonderful person who's going to make us all proud. And, you know, in life sometimes you have to step down and have somebody come along and just go from there. And I know he's going to bring a championship to the city, and he's going to make us all proud. And I'm really proud to know him, to have sold him the team, and just to be involved with him. It was just wonderful. And I'm just happy.
The NBA, as we know, loves to hold big games on Christmas Day, and they sure got one in hand for this coming December 25th. That will be the day in which LeBron James and the Cavaliers will play in South Beach against the Miami Heat, the team for which LeBron played for the past 4 seasons, leading them to 2 championships and 4 Eastern Conference championships. This is quite a Christmas gift for basketball fans. We'll now have to wait and see how the fans in Miami treat LeBron when he comes back. Will it be the same merciless welcome he got in his first visit in Cleveland as a Heat player? Well, we'll have to see. 10 years ago to the date, August 13, 2014, was a historic day for Greece, the opening ceremony of the Athens Olympic, coming only a month after Greece won Euro 2004. 10 years have gone by and so much has changed. These are the images seen today in what was the Olympic Village just 10 years ago. Barbed wire, overgrown grass, and rubbish are now the scene in what was then the pride of Greece. The economic crisis the country is dealing with for the past few years has left a very sad note on the Olympic venues, and no one is really in the mood to celebrate the 10th anniversary. The crisis, of course, raises the question of whether it was just too expensive for Greece to host the Games. The people involved in the organization back then try to answer.
Nobody was thinking at that time what will happen the next day. There was no planning for that. Many of the sport facilities were constructed just to be constructed according to the rules and regulations of international sport federations, and nobody thought that they required a lot of money for the maintenance after the Olympic Games. And this is what has hurt us tremendously. The law, the Olympic law that helped the quick construction of those facilities did not make the government also take the necessary permits and do the necessary steps in order for those facilities to be properly utilized after the Olympic Games.
And we'll finish with the International ITU Triathlon World Cup Series. The latest event was held this week in Hungary, and it was a very happy occasion for the local participants. Home favorite Akos Vanek won the men's event. For the first time in his career, his best achievement so far was third place at the same event in 2011. His win was followed by the second place for his sister Margi in the women's event. There was more Hungarian success as Gabor Faldum also hit the podium with a strong third place finish. No doubt, for these triathletes, there's no place like home. And that's it for us today. Don't forget, you can watch us anytime on our website at i24news.tv. See you again tomorrow. Thank you very much.